The paradigm of life, a relationship, a system, a company, a culture as a riddle. Life as a riddle leads naturally to the technique of solving the riddle. Now, we emerge out of the one. We emerge out of a complete and total ecology, a system of relationships that, if we do not interfere with it, with our conscious mind, will continue to iterate and grow as it has from something less than the size of a pea into the entire multiverse that is there today. Life is a winner. Life is a reality creator, par excellence, 25 billion years with infinity to go. And look at what life has done so far. And in ecological systems, everything fits. You don't look around in nature if you remove everything human created and say there's no place for this. Volcanoes emit lava. The entire Hawaiian Islands are generated out of the deep seas by volcanoes. So volcanoes are creating land masses. Trees are creating oxygen. Animals are creating fertilizer for tree. In an ecological paradigm, there is zero waste because ecological paradigms and ecological systems are profoundly intelligent. Now, as humans, we first of all divide the whole into parts with language, with ideas. We cut it up. We take the one ecological body, which is a system, and we say this is a finger, this is another finger, this is a left hand, this is a right hand. We cut the one up with language. And in doing so, we create a system of puzzle pieces. It's exactly like a puzzle board where you have this ecological image, this one, and then you cut it into 1,000 pieces. And then trying to reassemble the 1,000 or so pieces, they don't often fit. And because time is moving constantly, we don't have 100 hours to fit every moment perfectly together out of the pieces that we cut the moment up into in order to understand it through language. But in the exercise, in the technique of solving a riddle, solving a puzzle, it begins with the awareness that the pieces are ultimately, the pieces are perfect and fit in alignment together. The distortions are synthetic, meaning once you cut the whole into many pieces, you can then reassemble the pieces to create, very odd asymmetrical shapes that, are very unbalanced and topple over and don't have a lot of grace. But it begins with the awareness that the innate energy and the original pieces are beautiful, are good. There's nothing wrong with reality. However, in the process of becoming culturally trained, culturally brainwashed, culturally dogmatized, we may do a very poor job of creating a graceful one out of all those pieces. And much like a chef, you can look at the raw ingredients of spinach and feta cheese and tomatoes and onions and salt and pepper and toasted baguette and, all of the different pieces. There's nothing wrong with the pieces. But if you do 99% tomatoes and, 2 tablespoons of salt for each piece of tomato, it can taste foul. Not because there's anything wrong with salt, but you've got the ratios wrong. And so as we look at solving the riddle, the question is, as a chef, what would you do to change the mix? I would delete this out of this dish and save it with this dish. I would reduce the amount. See, it's not black or white. People say I should stop worrying. There's nothing wrong with worry as a function, as an ingredient. But there may be something wrong with the dose. Worrying that you are going to be run over while a car is coming towards you and you're standing in the street, and then using that worry to get out of the street, is nothing wrong with that. Sitting at home, remembering the past, ignoring the present, and worrying that what happened in the past will happen again. You go back to a past minute, just before you broke up with someone. You think, oh, they're going to break up with me. Then you play the memory forward a little bit. Oh, they're breaking up with me. Oh my gosh, I'm so worried about it. And using this to avoid engaging in life, not such a good use and utilization of the ingredient of worry. Feeling guilty because you repeatedly lied to your best friend and now they're unable to trust new people. If that guilt is something you utilize in order to make a shift in some way and learn from it and realize, it doesn't actually feel very good to betray someone or be betrayed. It's not very efficient. How about this? So there's nothing wrong with many of the ingredients. There's often something terribly wrong with the dose or what we do with them. Adding salt to ice cream may be nice in some cases. Adding a pint of salt to a pint of ice cream, never a good idea if in relationship to human biology. So there's mixes. So if you pick an area that's one, important, two, pick an area that is connected to you, meaning you can influence the area, and it's very important. And three, you've got a couple of hours to sort out the pieces and do something about. There's a lot of things in life that they arrive and they're gone before you have the opportunity to edit that particular recipe, that particular moment. Then you can sort out, relative to your aim, relative to your goal, relative to who you want to be and the reality that you want to live in, how you could break down your current recipe, which is I get up, I think this, then I feel this, then I do this, and then I think this, then I feel this, then I do this. And this is the probability field, because every recipe creates a probability field. If you mix 1 cup of milk, 1 egg, 1 cup of flour, a little bit of pinch of baking soda, 2 shakes of cinnamon, you whip this all up, and you put a 200-degree pan with some olive oil, and you sprinkle that on and roll it out. Then you wait 5 minutes, and then you flip it over, and you wait 2.5 minutes. You will have a pancake. Now, if you do that exact same thing every time, you will have an almost identical pancake. It's not certain, but it's almost identical every single time. Why? Because that's what that recipe produces. And to do that recipe and say, oh God, please, please, let there be a blueberry muffin this one time. Roll it out, flip it over. Oh, where's the blueberry muffin? Is, of course, insane. To repeat the same behavior expecting different results is, of course, insane. But what is the right recipe? And you can play with this overlaying the paradigm of play like a puzzle. Does this connect well with this? Does this connect well with this? Well, if we do it this way, there's a bunch of pieces left over. What would we do with that? Well, if we do it this other way, they all fit nicely together, and the puzzle has more what? Integrity. Integration. You don't have missing pieces that, I have no idea what to do with this. It pieces together. And so if we understand that the ecology, the original image that was cut into, by us, by language, by thought, into 1,000 different pieces, that it was and is perfect, that there's no waste in that original image. Then, after cutting it up and combining it on all of these different ways and learning from a culture that has cut up reality and pieced it together in very odd ways, there is a distorted, painful, asymmetrical reality that we're experiencing, that we've learned, that we've replicated from our cult. Much as you can take a wheel like this, and if you put this wheel on a car, it's going to be perfect. It's going to be graceful. You're going to have a smooth ride. But you can take this wheel and you can cut it in half. And you can then remove half of it, and you can put this on a car. And it will be an incredibly bumpy ride from day one because it's not symmetrical. It's not balanced. And we do this all the time in cults. Chauvinistic cults overbalance, male chauvinistic cults overbalance men. Female chauvinistic cults overbalance women. Either way, it's a bumpy ride. The ride comes from symmetry. The ride comes from grace. So again, pick an area of your life that you can influence. Pick an area that is important to you. Itemize all of the pieces and how they are configured. And then question, what if we did less of this and more of this? What if I did this, I stopped doing this to Fred and did it to Bob? What if I did the sequence differently and I did this first thing in the morning and then this at the end of the day, and then do this other thing in the middle of the day? How do each of these relationships help put a perfect puzzle back together, moving towards grace?